It was a quiet Saturday afternoon in the small town of Ridgewood, the kind of place where everyone knew each other's faces but not everyone's stories. The sun hung low, casting golden light across the glass windows of Miller's Market, the only grocery store in town where old folks came to chat and kids came to buy candy with coins they saved from chores. Inside, the soft hum of the refrigerators mixed with the distant sound of an old country song on the radio. That's when she appeared, a little girl named Emily, only 8 years old, with pigtails tied unevenly and a smile that could light up a dull day. She was standing in line, holding a small basket with just a loaf of bread, a jar of peanut butter, and a carton of milk, things her mom had sent her to buy while she finished her shift at the diner. Ahead of her stood an elderly man, gray-bearded, thin, with trembling hands clutching his wallet. His clothes were worn out, his shoes nearly falling apart, and yet he carried himself with a quiet dignity that demanded respect. He placed his few groceries, a can of soup, some bread, and dog food, on the counter, and as the cashier rang them up, he fumbled through his pockets, searching for change. The line behind him grew restless. A few customers sighed loudly. One man muttered, "Come on, old-timer, some of us have things to do." But Emily just watched silently, her big eyes studying him. The old man's face turned red as he whispered, "I'm sorry, I thought I had enough." He pulled out a handful of coins, but they barely added up to half of the total. The cashier, trying to stay polite, said softly, "That's okay, sir, maybe we can put something back." His shoulders slumped. He reached for the can of soup, the only real meal he'd have for the week, and just as his hand touched it, Emily stepped forward. Her voice was small, but clear. "Wait. I'll pay for it." Everyone turned. The cashier blinked, confused. The old man froze. "Sweetheart," he said softly, "you don't have to," but Emily placed a few crumpled dollar bills on the counter, her own allowance, and smiled. "My mom says we should always help people when we can." The room went silent. Even the man who had complained earlier lowered his head. The cashier nodded with teary eyes, scanned the rest of the items, and handed the old man his bag. He looked at Emily, speechless. His eyes glistened. "Thank you, young lady. You don't know what this means to me." Emily smiled, "It's okay, sir. I hope you and your dog eat well tonight." He swallowed hard, unable to find words, and finally said, "What's your name?" "Emily," she said proudly. "Emily Grace." He nodded. "That's a good name. I'll remember it." Then he slowly walked out, clutching the bag like it contained treasure. Emily didn't think much of it, she just grabbed her things, waved goodbye to the cashier, and ran out into the warm sunlight. What she didn't see was the old man stopping outside, leaning against a lamppost, pulling out his phone with shaking fingers. He took a deep breath and dialed a number he hadn't called in years. "It's me," he said quietly when the voice answered. "I need you to gather the crew." The voice on the other end hesitated. "You sure, Pops? After all this time?" The old man looked back through the window, saw the little girl smiling as she skipped away. "Yeah," he said, his voice breaking. "It's time." That evening, Emily came home to her small house on Willow Street. Her mom, Claire, was already there, still in her diner uniform, exhausted but smiling when she saw her daughter. "Hey sweetheart," she said. "Did you get everything?" Emily nodded and handed her the bag. "Mom," she said excitedly, "there was this old man at the store, he couldn't pay for his food, so I helped him." Claire froze. "You what?" Emily shrugged innocently. "He needed help." Claire knelt, brushing her daughter's hair gently. "That was very kind of you, honey. But you didn't need to spend your allowance," Emily smiled proudly. "It's okay. I think he needed it more than I did." Claire's eyes softened. "You have the biggest heart, Emily." They ate dinner that night, laughing softly as the TV played quietly in the background. But miles away, in a run-down house at the edge of town, the old man sat at his table, surrounded by dusty photographs and the faint smell of engine oil. On one of the photos, he and a group of burly men in leather jackets stood beside shiny motorcycles, smiling like brothers. The old man wiped a tear from the corner of his eye. He whispered to the picture, "She reminded me what kindness looks like, boys." Then he stood up and went to the garage. The moment he turned the key, the old engine of his Harley roared back to life, a sound the neighbors hadn't heard in years. One by one, messages were sent, calls were made, and across counties, engines began to roar. The Iron Souls, a legendary biker club that had once been known for protecting their towns and helping the needy, were coming back together. Meanwhile, Emily lay in bed, her stuffed bear in her arms, drifting to sleep. Outside, the night was calm, stars glimmering above. She had no idea what her simple act of goodness had set in motion. By morning, the roads leading into Ridgewood were rumbling with the sound of engines. People came out of their houses, confused, as the ground seemed to shake beneath the thunder of hundreds of motorcycles. "What's going on?" someone shouted. A man at the gas station looked up as bikes lined the street, shiny, powerful, and ridden by men and women wearing black leather jackets with the emblem Iron Souls stitched on the back. At the front of the line rode the old man, whose name was Henry Hawk Dawson, the founding member of the club. He hadn't ridden in a decade. But today, he rode with purpose. They stopped at a small blue house on Willow Street, Emily's house. Claire, hearing the noise, rushed outside, clutching her robe. She froze when she saw the sea of bikers parked on the street, their engines idling low like a growl. What is this?" she whispered. Hawk got off his bike, took off his helmet, and smiled gently. "Ma'am," he said, voice gravelly with age, "I'm looking for Emily Grace." Claire's heart raced. "She's my daughter." "What's this about?" Hawk's eyes softened. "She helped me today when I couldn't pay for my groceries. She didn't know me, but she did something most people wouldn't. And I wanted her to see what that means." He turned and raised his hand. "Souls," he shouted. In a wave, 500 bikers revved their engines, the sound echoing like thunder across the neighborhood. Emily came to the door, wide-eyed. "Mom, what's happening?" Hawk knelt in front of her, tears in his eyes. "You see, sweetheart, once upon a time, I used to lead these folks. We were rough around the edges, but we believed in one thing, loyalty and kindness. I lost sight of that after my wife died. I forgot what good felt like. But today, you reminded me." He handed her a small leather jacket, custom-made, tiny but beautiful, with her name stitched in gold. "You're our honorary member now," he said. Emily gasped. "Really?" The bikers all cheered. The sound of applause and engines filled the air. Hawk smiled and whispered, "You see, one act of kindness can ripple farther than you ever imagine." Claire had tears streaming down her face. The whole street came out to watch as the bikers formed a circle around the house, engines roaring in salute. Hawk stood beside Emily and said to the crowd, "If an 8-year-old girl can show compassion without asking anything in return, then what's our excuse?" Everyone clapped, cheered, some even cried. That day, Emily didn't just help an old man, she brought hope back to a forgotten brotherhood. The news spread fast. Photos of Emily and the bikers went viral, and people all over the country shared her story. Reporters came knocking, but Emily just smiled shyly and said, "I didn't do anything special. I just wanted him to eat." Hawk visited often after that, bringing food, fixing things around the house, and teaching her how to ride a small bicycle he restored himself. They became family. The Iron Soul started a new mission, feeding the elderly, helping veterans, and protecting kids in need, all inspired by one little girl who didn't even think twice about giving away her few dollars. As the sun set that evening, Emily sat on the porch in her tiny leather jacket, watching Hawk and the bikers ride off into the golden horizon. She waved and whispered, "Bye, Mr. Henry." He turned back and saluted. The engines roared again, not in anger, but in unity, gratitude, and love. And that's how one small act of kindness from a little girl reignited an army of hearts. So, if you're watching this story right now, remember, your smallest act of goodness might change someone's entire world. Just like Emily's did. And if you believe kindness still exists in this world, hit that subscribe